Okay, so this is how I do the wire for the bridge of the nose. The things I need a mostly finished mask. I have a 4-inch-ish piece of spandex that I've cut on the bias. I have a whole bunch of this because I'm using the Sway, I think that's how you say it, S-U-A-Y pattern, which uses this for the edging on the mask. And this is heavy duty garden wire, which comes in a roll like this. So the first thing I've done is I've taken my 4-inch piece of spandex and I folded it in half. I like to put the shiny side inside, but I think that's pretty much just cosmetic. And let me see. I've pinned it together so that it's folded in half. I'm gonna put it in my sewing machine, and I've put the needle all the way to the right. And I've stepped on a pin. And sewing with spandex is not fun. But I find that if I stretch it, it goes a little better. There are about 1,000 caveats to this, most of them being that I don't actually know what I'm doing. I mostly made this up and have learned everything, including pretty much everything I know about sewing in general, through trial and error. So there's probably a better way to do this. Okay, then I'm gonna make a little butt end of it. So I've sewed it into a little square pocket. I'm gonna cut this off. And these will end up on the inside anyway, but I don't like dealing with them. So bye. The garden wire is snipped into a 3-inch piece. It's too heavy to really cut with scissors, so there's some pliers with a little snippy end on them that I've been using to cut it into a 3-inch piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to invert my spandex, make a little sock, a tube, and then gonna move my needle back to the middle, kind of stretch it a little bit, and sew it shut. And I go back and forth a bunch of times because I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm hoping it'll hold better that way, but maybe it won't. And sometimes I get the spandex into the machine because I've just sewn it so much. But that's okay. This is probably painful for some people to watch. Okay. So here's my little wire sock. And the wire sock is useful for 2 reasons. The first being that it's a little less pokey on the ends than it would be otherwise. The second reason is that it actually stays on the mask better if you machine wash it. If you just stitch over it, it can come loose from the stitching and then end up in a place it shouldn't be. So that's not fun. I eyeball where it should go, because in reality it doesn't super matter if it's exactly in the center. I'm gonna put it on a zigzag stitch at the widest possible setting right now. And I should pin this in place, because that would make me happy. I usually try to vaguely follow the stitching that I use to put the binding on, but that's just me. All right, so foot down, and let's see what happens. All right, and I've broken a few needles on these. And the reason I'm using the widest possible setting is I'm trying to feed the wire right into the center of the foot. And then hopefully what happens is the zigzag stitch goes on either side of the wire. Doing so keeps the wire really happy and where it should be. All right, so there it is. That's the wire in its little sock in the center, and it folds and stays.